And good evening, everybody. This is Cruz, the Beast from the East, with Cruz Inc. Radio 102.8 Live TV. Tonight, this is a special broadcast, of course. As many of you already know, there has been a historic event that has occurred. The verdict in terms of the trial for Derek Chauvin is in, and he was found guilty on all three charges. And tonight I want to invite you to come on live with me to talk about your thoughts about the verdict, how you felt once the verdict was read and that he was found guilty on all three charges. I have to be honest with you. This is for me a more or less a bittersweet moment for the simple fact that we have been experiencing this type of thing for as long as people of color have been in America. And as I think it was George Floyd's brother that said that Emmett Till back in 1955 was the first George Floyd, and there have been many, many others. But tonight, it's not about me talking to you. I'm asking you to talk to me about your feelings. At the bottom, you can join me live here on the broadcast if you have some comments, thoughts about the verdict, how you felt about the verdict. Where do we go from here? Yes, there has been justice for George Floyd and his family, but we still have a lot to do. Again, we have to continue to ask for police reformation, the policies that has to be a federal policy, has to be state and local level in order for us to start to stem the tide in what has been going on. So I'm inviting you. You can put your comments about how you're feeling, some of the things that you experienced when you heard the verdict. But I'm going to show something here that's courtesy of the WION, just kind of to, again, show some of the highlights of what transpired.
I'm not a bad guy, man. In the car. I'm not a bad guy. You ain't gonna win. Man. Please, officer. Please. Please, man. Please.
Pull him in.
No. You can't just see.
Pull him in.
I can't choke. I can't breathe, officer. Please. Fine. My wrist, man. Please. No, I can't take that, man. I can't. I'm on the ground.
You know that's bogus right now, bro. You know it's bogus. You can't even look at me like a man because you a bum, bro.
Mama, I love you. Reese, I love you.
You got hobble?
My kids, I love you.
You just gonna choke him like that? Yeah, I know that's what you want to do. I'm not scared of you, bro. You're a fucking pussy ass dude, bro. What?
I'm a firefighter from Minneapolis.
Bro, look, well, you should check on him. He's not responsive right now.
Back
off. He's not responsive.
Get off the street before
He's
you're
not responsive right
Okay,
now.
then you would know.
He's not responsive right now. He's not responsive right now, bro.
Does he have a pulse?
No, bro, look at him. He's not responsive right now, bro.
Oh my.
I know that this is difficult. Can you just explain sort of what you're feeling in this moment?
I feel helpless. I don't have a mama either, but I understand him. My mom died June 25th.
I also offered, in my memory, I offered to walk them through it, or told them, if he doesn't have a pulse, you need to start compressions, and that wasn't done either.
When you couldn't do that, how did that make you feel?
totally distressed.
Were you frustrated?
Yes.
To look at what was happening there at the scene.
I heard George Floyd saying, "I can't breathe, please get off of me. I can't breathe." He cried for his mom. He was in pain. It seemed like he knew. It seemed like he knew it was over for him. He was terrified. He was suffering. This was a cry for help.
I thought that George didn't really know that it was a fake bill, so I thought I'd be doing him a favor.
I'm the worst at interrupting anyway, so don't worry about it. Just give it your best shot.
There are good things and there are things that should be changed, but I think the police is a good thing to have.
That was very, very, very hard to watch, but we cannot forget what we saw in broad daylight was a man being murdered. And for the first time in my 59 years or memory is that an officer was actually arrested, tried, and found guilty of murder. And that's what we have to remember. This was cold-blooded murder. And I continue to pray for the family. We still have, again, just 10 miles from where George Floyd was murdered, and I will continue to say murdered. We have Dante Wright, who, again, was murdered. And I think it's time for us to, we've seen all around the world the responses that people have had to the murder of George Floyd. We saw the comments of the President of the United States. And so what I'm saying, and I want to hear from you, what are your thoughts on this? How do you feel about the verdict? Whether you are pro police or anti-police or whatever. And I want to say this, that not all policemen are like Derek Chauvin. We have some good officers that work hard day in and day out to protect and serve. But we have to start to weed out those that corrupt the system. It was just been said momentarily ago that 70% of the officers on the force are forced into a situation where they have to remain silent. 70%. And then there's only about 2% of those that are actually crooked cops. And then there's those that want to help but are forced in a situation of the blue wall. And so until there's some overhaul of policing across the country, where there's some federal mandates, where there's no longer immunity, and that Black people, brown people can be treated with dignity, when we deal with the elephant in the room, which is the systemic racism, then we can start to continue to move forward. But this was a huge step in terms of moving forward. This is a huge step in terms of turning the tide, and the people spoke loud and clear that we're not going to continue to stand for innocent people being treated inhumanely, being killed when you're sitting in your living room eating ice cream, or you're waking up and you find people coming through your door and you have no idea what is going on. And just again, it is just countless times that we have seen this play out in America over and over and over again. And so today, for me, I will say this: when all three charges and he was found guilty, as a black man, it brought all type of emotions with me. You know, it brought tears to my eyes because I know that finally somebody is saying that enough is enough. And those 12 jurors were very brave in what they did with the tremendous pressure that they were under. The world was watching. The world was watching America. And so tonight, again, I want to hear from you. I want to, for the next 15 minutes, open it up where you can make your comments or you can come on live to talk with me. I am going to be showing at the bottom of the screen here is the live screen that you can come on if you want to talk to me, talk about what's going on, talk about your feelings tonight. Whether there's jubilation, celebration, or whatever it is that you're feeling about the events of the day, this is an open mic. If you don't want to come on live, you can put your comments in the comment section, and I'll be glad to display your comments. But I think, you know, at this point in time, we have to be more vocal. We have to continue to press our elected officials to do more. We have to get our senators, especially the Republican senators, to do more. So today's victory is one that there's momentary celebration. And again, as I stated in the beginning of my broadcast, this is a catch-22 that so many have had to die at the hands of some police officers. And I want to keep reiterating that I am not against police officers at all. I am against crooked police officers. And that's the way we all should feel right now, is that we respect those that protect and serve and do it with integrity, but the ones that go beyond the boundaries, just like recently here in Virginia, the lieutenant who was pulled over, who was maced, who again was broke down to his knees by an officer. Just those type of interactions with policemen cannot continue to be the norm. And I want to say this: it is always, I think it was Ben Crump or somebody else that mentioned this today, is that a black man running away is more dangerous than a white man with an AK, an assault rifle coming towards the police. And so my comments tonight, I really didn't want to get into an editorial. I really wanted to do this so that you can comment and you can tell me how you feel about today's verdict. You know, what I guess for us, we had to ask what's next. How do we continue to move forward? What do we do to make sure that our young people, our black people, our brown people can have interactions with police officers where it's not always fatal? So again, the lines are open. You can put your comments in. I want to hear from you. This is a historic moment. We had the president comment. We had vice president comment. We've had a lot of legal analysts to talk about what's going on. But again, I would like to hear from you about your feelings tonight, and again, how you felt when the verdict was read. So it's so much to unpack here, you know. And when we look at this, he was guilty on, found guilty of second-degree unintentional murder, third-degree murder, and second degree manslaughter, and he could face up to 40 years in prison for second degree murder, up to 25 years for third degree murder, and up to 10 years for second degree manslaughter. And as one of my classmates, indicated, is how much time will he actually get? Will there be leniency for him? Will he get the 40 years, the 25 years, plus the 10 years for all of the the accounts that he, or the counts rather, that he was found guilty of? So by no means is this over with. Yes, this is a huge milestone. Yes, we can celebrate, but we also have to remember again the pain that the Floyd family has gone through, the pain that Tamir Rice family has gone through, the pain Dante Rice, so many others, Sandra Bland, and the list goes on and on. So I think tonight, in my opinion, this verdict of guilty for Derek Chauvin was vindication for all those that were murdered, were killed at the hands of some corrupt police officers. And let's continue to say for the record, not all police officers are corrupt. We have some very fine men and women who risk their lives each and every day to protect and serve. So we don't want to cloud the waters here and for somebody to tune in and think that this is an anti-police forum. It is not anti-police, but this is one where we have to start having serious conversations about the policing policy, the use of deadly force. And what we saw 11 months ago was pure murder in its simplest form. I mean, there was no humanity there at all. And then when they start to unpack things, you look at the culpability of those that stood there and watched Derek Chauvin. I believe that trial is coming up next. There has to be some accountability for those that were responsible for administering some type of first aid to George Floyd. So there are a number of guilty people that, again, should be held accountable for what transpired 11 months ago. And so we want to thank, again, the jurors for being so bold and coming back and finding him guilty. That is going to send a message, hopefully, to those that abuse their power, those that abuse their badge, those that abuse their uniform. There's so much that still has to be done. So I would like for you, if you have some comments, please, let's keep the hatred going. Wait a minute. Let me go ahead, David. If you're still watching, I want to say this. It's not about keeping the hatred going. It's about stopping the hatred. It's about trying to rectify and change a broken system. So if you think my comments in this show is about continuation of hate, it's not. It's about justice. It's about righting wrongs. It's about the Emmett Tills of the world. It's about the Dante Rice. It's about George Floyd. It's about Sandra Bland. It's about so many. So if we're going to have a conversation, David, and I appreciate your comment, is that let's be real with this. Is that and I know that the hate is not necessarily with us. The hate is those that continue to perpetrate these wrongs here. And I want to, I'm going to continue here because I appreciate you your comments. I've never had any hatred towards anyone, but I've been made to feel like a racist due to my whiteness of my skin. And I would say, David, that's wrong as well. Anybody that, again, that is hated because of the color of the skin is wrong. So again, what you're saying, it's not, nobody should ever be a victim of racism. I grew up in the South. I grew up in Memphis, and I was there during the time that Dr. King was assassinated in Memphis. And as a little boy, I remember going to the fairgrounds, and I was standing there minding my own business. And when this white gentleman walked up and with a knife started cutting at my jacket, just because of the color of my skin. So again, nobody should have to endure humiliation, threats, being beaten, and even worse, killed because of the color of the skin. And David, I appreciate your comments. And it's going to be white people like you that again continue to stand with Black and brown people to end racism, to end systemic racism, to foster love and respect for one another. So again, I appreciate your comments and hope that as somebody said today, that was a bouquet of people that brought this justice for George Floyd. It was white people march, and it was Black people march, and there were young people, old people, people from all nationalities, all creeds and colors. I got somebody that's coming on. I'm going to add them to the screen here. Good evening, Denard. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you very fine.
All right, Denard, I want to let you know that you're on live. I'm going to go ahead and
yes,
you have some comments.
Yeah, man. I just want to talk about, this trial, and I just wanted to say that free Derek Chauvin, man. Fuck that nigga George Floyd. Fuck that nigga.
We always got one that anyway, that's what happens when you have live television. You got some idiot that wants to do that. So I have about 5 more minutes. That is just, that was some idiotic stuff that just happened. And somebody wanted their 15 minutes of fame. You got your 15 minutes of fame, bro. But, that was some real messed up stuff. And I'm trying to keep it clean right now. I don't want to go to my unfiltered here of what you just did there, my brother. We got people that are dying, and people that are hurting, and that was some messed up crap. I know the nod is probably not your name, but that was again just some real childish crap right there. Anybody else that has some comment other than what we just saw a few minutes ago? All right, let's see. David, I remember in the 70s and 80s that blacks beat whites daily at Thompson Middle School and George Wythe High School, but people never wanted to think of those days. It happens. Here's what it is, David. Those things I'm sure happen, but when you weigh out the scales, again, none of it is wrong. I mean, none of it is right. And that whether you are white being beaten, or whether you're Black being beaten, or whether you're Asian being bleed, or you're, whatever nationality you're from, whatever culture you're from, to be beaten and murdered is wrong on all levels. So I think that we're in an awakening time now, and hopefully that nobody will have to continue to be subjected to this type of behavior. I want to go to Anita out of Chicago. She said, I feel that justice was served. I'm glad that George Floyd's family got justice for his death. I'm praying for all young Black men, and thank you, Mom. Appreciate that. David, you're right, man. We as people, we have gone through so much in this country, and what we often forget about is that this country was unfortunately founded on violence. When you talk about the Boston Tea Party and the revolution and all the things, we have to learn to deal with our differences in a different manner here. And I want to say to those good officers out there, again, we appreciate you. We appreciate what you do when you do your job, and you do it with integrity. You do it without any trepidation or anything like that. So again, thank you for what you do day in and day out. And it's those officers, I want to mention too, those officers up in Minneapolis, for the Minneapolis Police Department, or I think whatever police department it was, Winnipeg, one of them, that they were very bold in speaking out against what happened, and being transparent, and saying that this is not a part of what we do in policing. And so again, kudos to them for doing for being bold as well. Things I feel is very much at risk of being shot by police myself. I grew up on Stockton Street, and cops would shoot at anyone that moved down there. Well, hopefully here, David, and we have a system in place, a police chief that feels the pain of this community, and that is about building our police department where we no longer have to face that type of where anybody has to face that, again, whether you're white, black, Asian, Mexican, Hispanic, whatever, that you don't have to fear police. So again, I think that the city of Richmond, we are seeing some changes in our police department. I think our chief is, at this point, as far as I know, he's committed to making sure that our department and the officers and the men and women that serve the Richmond Police Department do it with pride, do it with integrity, and they do their job within the law. And again, we have to continue to pray for everybody that has lost a loved one, that has had a bad experience with police officers. And so forums like this will help us to start to build bridges, and we can have open, honest communications about how we're feeling. And David, I appreciate you for being so bold tonight and expressing the things that you've experienced and that you've gone through as a white man. And I don't want to dismiss that in any type of way, but I will want to say this, that there have been more black people that have experienced injustices than probably white men. So again, I'm not dismissing what you've gone through, and I do know that. And I said this to a neighbor I think it was Saturday. There's a white gentleman that lives next door to me, and he came across and he said, I appreciate you as a neighbor, be it black or white. And I said, you know what? Here's the reality of the world that we live in. We have black people that are good. We have white people that are good. We have black people that are evil. We have white people that are evil. We have to start labeling what it is. We have a evilness and humanity overall, because I don't know what culture you're in. I mean, it doesn't matter what culture you're in. There are people that are going to be evil. So again, excellent point. I don't think most 99% of white men won't admit to what took place years ago. Yeah, you're right, David. And there's some perhaps arrogance with that. There's some hidden guilt. Hopefully that narrative will change. And again, it's going to be where we're having dialogue and righting wrongs. And today went a long way in terms of righting a wrong. And hopefully it will send messages to those other officers that who do not do their job with integrity, that are suspect in their job, that are, again, the racism that's within many departments across the country, that we'll start to root those people out, that they will feel very uncomfortable about wearing a uniform to protect and serve when they know that they have some problems and issues with people of color. So as we continue to seek justice, as we continue to talk to our elected officials and let them know that either you vote for police reformation or we're going to vote you out. We saw down in Georgia the power of our vote. And so we have to continue to elect people who want to do the right thing, who want to have a united States of America versus a divided States of America. We've come too far. We still have a long way to go. And again, as I close out on tonight, we have to continue to pray for America. We have to pray for those who are filled with evil. We have to start to pull back the cover and take the sheets off of those that want to perpetuate racism. We have to start to make sure that the people who do these things are like Derek Chauvin, that they're brought to justice, and that the justice system works the way it's supposed to be, and people that are guilty of murder, again, are found guilty. And we hope that this will be a lesson, and that we can start to change the things. All right, I'm gonna read your last comment here. I was only going to be on about 30 minutes here. Thank you, David, as well. And this is a forum where we have to be open. I cannot be anti this and anti that. I respect people's opinion. We may not always agree, but we can agree to disagree as well, and then find some mutual things that we can come together on, and which is, we know that right now we live in a world that is suffering. A lot of people are hurting. We've had 54 mass shootings in the last 30 days. So again, today we have a short celebration that there was vindication for George Floyd, but we still have a lot to do. So thank you, David, as well. I appreciate your comments and your support, and even when we don't always agree, we can have these conversations. So everybody, I appreciate you tuning in tonight, and that, again, as I always say, whatever comes from the heart reaches the heart. Let somebody know how much you care for them, how much you love them. Tomorrow is not promised to any of us. So if you have an out with your brother, you need to go to your brother, and I'm being kind of generic here, whether it's out with your brother, your sister, whoever it may be. Try to mend that. We need some healing. We need healing across America. We need healing across the world. So today is the day that we can start to heal. And we started by being honest with each other. And again, we appreciate our white brothers and sisters that protested around the world, that stood just like they did with Dr. Martin Luther King, because that's the way the change comes about, when people all around the world stand up and say enough is enough. This is your boy Cruz, the Beast from the East. This is Cruising Radio 102.8 Live TV. Thank you for this moment. If you want to continue to share your comments, feel free to put them in the comment section. And we're going to have more dialogue, hopefully, about mending and healing America. Take care, everybody.